tutorial is about how to prepare yourself for rehearsal. That goes for music directors as well. So you're going to quickly go through the processes. So before rehearsal, this is what you need to do. To prepare yourself, study the music thoroughly. Decide how to interpret the music and make pencil markings to help you teach and direct it. You would need to learn the music well enough so you can look up as you conduct. So these are some of the following steps. You read the text aloud to understand its message and its mood. That's when you are reading music, at least you need to read the lyrics to get the understanding and then how the movement or the mood will be. So you go through the music, noting the time signature, the tempo markings, how fast or slow, the dynamic markings, how loud or soft, and any other expression marks. You may want to circle or underline them. So that is very important. So go through the music again, saying the words in rhythm as you conduct or tap a steady beat. Learn the melodic line and sing it while conducting. Follow the tempo and dynamic indicating the music or indicated on the music. Come to the feeling of the style and mood of the music. When adding feeling to the music, don't overemphasize any one aspect. Keep your interpretation simple. So I believe you know how to go about that one too. So become familiar with each of the vocal parts. Circling any notes or rhythms that may be difficult. Difficult passages will need special attention during rehearsal. So you just note those vocal ranges parts, and then where they have problems with the rhythmic or the notes, even if it is a high note or a low note, you circle it and you need to work on it before you move to the next bar or the next thing to do. So find places in the music where one vocal line begins or ends independently of the other lines, or where one line becomes more important than the others. Mark these places in the music so you can signal the singers at the appropriate time. So when you have a section where it's very difficult or very important, you just make that signal that you're just going to the point. So all of you should be cautious of what you're going to sing or play. So practice conducting the music from beginning to end using good technique and expression gestures. Picture the choir in front of you, visualizing where each section of the singers will be seated. Practice phasing or gesturing in the direction of the section that would need cues from you. Conducting in front of a mirror may help improve your skill. So this is very important also. You can practice conducting in your mirrors, standing in front of your mirror, and then to cue. To cue is just to call other parts in or to just make sure someone comes in at the right time. So that's the meaning of cue. And then you could meet with the accompanist before the rehearsal to discuss your interpretation of the music and practice conducting with the accompaniment. So that is where you need to meet your conductor. Now, actually, you can have a music director, a conductor, and an accompanist. If you're not going to conduct, then that means you all have to meet, and then you express how you'll be conducting a song to the accompanist. So he or she also follows, and then do same whilst playing. So you plan the rehearsal. As a director, you need to plan the rehearsal. To effectively use rehearsal time, you need to have a plan. Look at the choir's performance schedule and decide which pieces the choir needs to rehearse. List the titles and page numbers of the pieces and how much time you spend rehearsing each one. Tell your accompanist what you plan to do. Sometimes pieces will need more time than you plan for. Be flexible enough to let rehearsal meet the needs of the choir. So I believe that is also clear that you can also do. So preparing the rehearsal place. So work with your choir leaders well in advance to schedule the rehearsal time and place. Make sure choir members know about the rehearsal. Then be sure the building will be unlocked at the scheduled time. Arrange the seating so that every member of the choir can see you and hear the piano or organ. Usually sopranos are seated on the left as you face the choir and are near the basses. Altos are usually by the tenors, but the arrangement that works for the choir is fine. Arrive early to make arrangements, lay out the music, and greet members as they arrive. That's the music directors. That is one thing you also need to do as a music director. So how to rehearse a new piece of music? Following are some suggested steps for rehearsing a new piece of music. All of these steps do not need to be done in a single rehearsal. The process may be spread over several weeks. So give an overview. So the overview gives choir members a general feeling of the music. Read or have someone in the choir read the text aloud and briefly discuss its message. Next, let the choir sing or hum through the entire piece. Then briefly discuss the unique qualities, interesting elements, and mood and style of the music. So that is also important. So you give an overview of a piece and you explain. Maybe the text might need explanation. That will also give the choir the mood to sing or to rehearse the song. So teach the notes. The best way to teach the notes is to divide singers by vocal groups: soprano, alto, tenor, bass, or SATB. For sectional rehearsal save time and keep the singers busy learning their parts instead of waiting for their turn to rehearse. Although it is best to send each group to a separate room, it may be more practical to divide the choirs into two groups, men and women. An assistant director can help with sectionals or can help with the sectionals. If it is not possible to divide, work with them each section of singers in turn while the other hum their notes. So I think that is also clear. The following are guidelines to help you teach new music to the choir. That's number 1, or point 1. Divide the piece into smaller parts and teach it segment by segment. To divide the piece, find places where natural breaks occur, or divide the piece into segments 1 or 2 pages. So that is also clear. You just, in technical terms, you can say cadences. So you just sing dana si da unyame si. That's one cadence or a phrase. Let me put it that, a phrase. So you sing to that phrase. You make sure soprano does it well, alto does it well, tenor, bass. Then you go to the next section or the next segment of the music. So for each segment of music, take each vocal group through its parts while the notes are played on the piano organ. The singers may be able to hear their notes better if the accompanist plays them in octaves. The singers can hum or sing ah while learning the notes. So that is very important. So teach troublesome rhythms by having the choir clap or say the words in a proper rhythm. So that is also important. Teach difficult notes by singing or playing them whilst the choir listens. So then have the singers repeat what they hear. Try singing a difficult passage 5 or 6 times in a row or very slowly. While one group learns its notes, have the other group study theirs or hum them to hear how they harmonize with the rest of the choir. So that is also important. While the singers learn the notes, have the accompanist play the vocal lines rather than the accompaniment. So To find out how well the singers know their notes, have them sing without the piano or organ. So after accompanying them to sing the note, each note for note, we just leave out the keyboard or the organ for them to sing alone, so that you know whether they've gotten it wrong or right. When each vocal group can sing the segment of music, join two groups together, that's basses or tenor or soprano and altos, add the third group, then the fourth. Listen for wrong notes or other problems, correct them, and move on to the next segment of the music. Hope that is also clear. Put it together. That is one point. When each section knows its notes, put all elements together, direct the choir through the entire piece, still learning for problems. Give directions to the singers concerning tempo, dynamics, and interpretation. Use most of the time rehearsing those parts of the music that needs attention. This is the time to pay attention to the details of the music, making sure the technical aspects are in place. Polish the performance. When the technical elements are worked out, polish the number of focusing on balance, blend, and interpretation. This will add artistic refinement and music feeling to the choir's performance. So that is polishing the rehearsal times or the rehearsal things you did. So that is very important. And then give a review. That's before ending a rehearsal in which the choir has learned a new song. Have the choir sing the song one last time, then review the new piece, and each rehearsal until the performance becomes relearning. Because some relearning might or will be needed. So that is the end of the piece. Let me go back quick. So when preparing yourself for rehearsal, sorry for the sound. This is why before rehearsal, these are the things you need to do. Just prepare yourself, study the piece, you read the text aloud, go through the music again, and then to know the rhythms, learn about the melodic line whilst conducting, becoming familiar with each vocal part, finding places in where one vocal line begins or ends independently. That is also important. Practice conducting in your chamber. You could meet the accompaniments to rehearse and interpret how the piece will move. Then you plan the rehearsal, prepare for a rehearsal place, how to rehearse a new piece. So you follow a new piece of music with the choir. So you give an overview of the song they're going to learn or sing, and then you teach the notes. You divide the music into smaller parts, and then or each section or sections or segments, so you can teach well. And then you teach the troublesome rhythms, teach difficult notes by singing or playing them while the choir listen. That would be playing them on the keyboard is very important. So whilst one group learn its notes, let the other part hum. And then while singers learn their notes, have their accompanants play the vocal lines. That is also important, just to support them or to support each part while singing. And then you add all you've learned together. You teach how the interpretation goes when it comes to the tempo, dynamics, and then interpretation, as in the mood, also is very important. Then you polish the performance, and then you give a review of what you've done for the rehearsal. I believe you enjoyed the lesson. Keep subscribing to RayApp Music.